Do you know what the main problem with that promo or what started this problem with Charlotte in the back with everybody? Because when you watch it, it looks like the belt, first of all, gets knocked out of her hands. Like she tries to pull it away and and she gets kind of grabbed. So it's like, now I look like a moron because it's dropped and she's told to pick it up. And so, out of character, then you got to do what you got to do and pick it up. But it just seemed more like it was an accidental drop. Like she didn't throw it on the floor. But then it's Becky chucking the belt at her, which looked like she was legitimately just pissy. And like, this is, I've had it with you. And this is what caused some stuff. So I'm like, well, is this Charlotte really starting something why is there a screaming match in the first place? Well, what causes this to happen?
Because throughout the day, Charlotte told Molly Holly and Adam Pearce and Bruce Pritchard was to exchange belts and how she didn't want to do it. And
she was right.
And she was telling him as early as, and so this is what hasn't been reported. This didn't start on Friday. This started on Monday. Charlotte was giving Bruce Pritchard hell on Monday and saying that just let me just lose to Bianca. And there was heat between Becky and Charlotte already, and it got even worse when Charlotte, who's not in a position to do this, said, "I want to lose to Bianca. She should lose to Sasha in Saudi, and that's how the belts should stay where they are." So she's now playing Booker on Monday. She's telling the company where all the titles should go.
I mean, I agree with not doing that handover thing because we went through something's got to happen. They're not going to do this. Otherwise, they would have done this earlier. There would have been a title swap by pin or something like this. And all that build up, and then it's let's hand the belts to each other again. I hate it.
I still feel the unification thing that I spoke about was had to be talked about. It was way too mentioned here, where Becky was going, "How about I be Becky two belts and whatnot?" Because I still feel.
And Charlotte even says winner take all, which makes her look almost as the good guy because she's like, "Let's have a match, winner take all," and then it's Becky who's like, "See you later," and leaves after Sasha gets there. So I guess Survivor Series. My thought is that it is going to be unified at Survivor Series. That's my thought. I have nothing inside, but that's what it's got to be.
Still, after they did the changeover.
Yeah, I think, especially now, because now I think they will try to use this real storyline and put it into their storylines, kind of like with Becky and Nia. After things leak out, you might as well use it. Because now people are going to be thinking, oh, there's real heat between them. I want to see them fight, and let's see if something. It's the same as when Nia had that match with Charlotte, and they started, getting into live on the show, and everyone was really way into it. So someone wanted to see the match again because you want to see the real life tension. So my thought is people would want to see this match because they want to see the real life tension and see if real stuff happens during the match.
Yeah, I think that's a way to go. But I also feel vindicated that there's a lot of weight. There was definitely weight behind my story that they were thinking about doing this. And I certainly feel like, if anything, this was feelers towards doing it. I'm going to find out more about this week because I understand that, and I don't have enough information about it, but I understand that there was some backlash towards the unification of the belts. Especially when you have Rachel Gonzalez, what's her name?
Raquel
Gonzalez and Io Shirai and people like that having to come to the brand. Oscar coming back as well on Raw shortly. So yeah, I mean, there was some backlash in terms of thinking, yeah, you're short now, but you won't be short for a while. For long, sorry, and yeah, perhaps it's not the time to do it. But so perhaps that's why they've gone in a direction to not do it. But I always think you could temporarily do it as well. Like there's no reason why if Becky's seen as a star who's moving numbers, there's no reason why she can't be Becky two belts and continue on both shows until those people come back, because then she can keep defending both of the belts. You see, it doesn't have to be a permanent unification where you get rid of both the belts and make one belt. It can be a unification where she's carrying two belts like she did before and defending them separately. I would lean towards if anything happens, it would be that. So yeah, that's the story. If anybody else has that much information, then let me know, because that's a hell of a lot to make up on the. And someone said, like, oh, he's completely wrong about his unification story. Like, I very much remember. Do you remember how slowly I spoke when I said that and said they are considering possibly? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. And someone still put the comment on there on YouTube of oh, he's going to be wrong about that story.
Well, you got to be like me and never ever look at a comment. I don't look at comments. I look at seeing how many downloads or whatever watches. That's all I care about. And the one thing I saw this week, because there's always a top line comment where it said they were talking about me saying WWE is terrified of AEW, and I still stand by it. I mean, terrified's a big word, but they're well aware of AEW. You wouldn't change any of your programming if you did not care and were not worried. They did an extra half hour, and on purpose. We're not having commercials, this and that. It's the same from when WCW was around, where they said, no, I don't ever watch their product. I have no idea what they're doing. Years later, we find out there's a TV at gorilla position. They're watching Nitro at the same time. So don't tell me they're not worried, when, quite frankly, they really shouldn't be. They're the big fish, but they're scared because that's just the way this company is.